cold-hardy perennials that survive freezing winters. Your garden doesn't have to disappear when the snow falls. I'm Sam from Seniors Gardening Advice, and today I'm sharing something that changed how I garden forever. There are plants that laugh at freezing temperatures, plants that come back stronger every single year, plants that give your garden life when everything else goes brown and dormant. If you're tired of replanting the same flowers every spring, if you want a garden that actually gets better with age, then stick around. What I'm about to show you will transform the way you think about winter gardening. Before we dive into these amazing plants, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. New gardeners join us every week, and I want you to be part of our growing community. Also, please like this video and leave a comment telling me which of these plants you're most excited to try. Your support helps us create more content just like this. What are cold-tolerant perennials? Let me start by explaining what we're really talking about here. Cold-tolerant perennials are plants specifically designed by nature to handle brutal winters. These aren't delicate flowers that need special care. These are tough, reliable plants that survive freezing temperatures, heavy snow and ice without complaining. The best part? They come back year after year. Once you plant them, they establish themselves deeper in the soil, getting stronger and more resilient. Unlike annuals that you replant every spring, perennials are a one-time investment that keeps giving back. These plants have special adaptations. Their root systems dig deep into the ground below the frost line where soil stays warmer. Their leaves and stems have developed ways to handle ice crystals forming inside them. Some plants even go completely dormant, essentially sleeping through the harshest months, then wake up ready to grow when temperatures rise. If you have a garden in a cold climate, these plants are your secret weapon. And if you live somewhere mild, many of these plants still thrive in your garden too. That's why I'm so excited to share them with you today. Hardy cold-tolerant perennial number 1, Astilbe. Let's start with one of my personal favorites. Astilbe is a plant that brings elegance and movement to any garden space. The flowers look like feathery plumes or delicate clouds floating above the foliage. When you brush against the plant, those flowers seem to shimmer and dance. Astilbe really shines in partial shade areas. This is great if you have spots in your garden that don't get full sun. The plant typically grows between 1 and 3 feet tall, depending on the variety. The width spreads out nicely to about 1 to 2 feet, making it perfect for gardens with limited space or to tuck into corners and edges. What I love most about Astilbe is its texture. Even when the flowers have faded, the foliage provides visual interest throughout the season. The leaves are deeply cut and delicate looking, adding dimension to your garden design. Astilbe handles USDA hardiness zones 4 through 9 beautifully. That means it thrives in many different climates across the country. Whether you live in the upper Midwest or down south, Astilbe can be part of your garden. The plant doesn't just survive in these zones, it actually flourishes. Once established, it becomes a reliable performer year after year. Plant Astilbe in soil that stays consistently moist but not waterlogged. Keep the area around the plant mulched to help retain moisture and protect the roots in winter.
Hardy cold-tolerant perennial number 2, Autumn Joy Stonecrop. Now let's talk about a plant that's absolutely magical in autumn. Autumn Joy Stonecrop gives you visual interest from early summer all the way through winter. This plant is sometimes called autumn fire, and you'll understand why when you see how the colors change. In early summer, clusters of pink flowers appear on top of thick, sturdy stems. These flowers are held in flat-topped clusters called umbels. As the season progresses, something amazing happens. The pink blooms slowly deepen and develop coppery tones. By fall, the flowers have turned burnished red and bronze colors that just glow in the afternoon light. Even better, these dried flower heads stay on the plant through winter. They provide food for birds and add structure and beauty to your winter garden. I keep my stonecrop flowers on the plant until spring, just to enjoy them. Autumn Joy Stonecrop grows between 1 and 2 feet tall with a similar spread. The plant has thick, fleshy leaves that store water, making it extremely drought-tolerant once established. This succulent foliage is gray-green in color and adds texture even before the flowers bloom. This plant wants full sun to light shade and well-drained soil. It actually prefers drier conditions to wet ones. This makes it perfect for people who sometimes forget to water or who have naturally dry spots in their gardens. Once planted, Autumn Joy Stonecrop practically takes care of itself. The plant does beautifully in USDA hardiness zones 3 through 9. That's an incredibly wide range. This is one tough perennial that survives serious cold and still thrives. Many gardeners in Zone 3 report that their plants have been going strong for over a decade with minimal care. Hardy cold-tolerant perennial number 3, Blazing Star. If you want to add vertical drama to your garden, Blazing Star is your plant. Also called liatris, this perennial has flower spikes that shoot upward, creating strong vertical lines in garden beds and borders. Blazing Star flowers have a unique appearance. Instead of flowers blooming from the bottom of the spike upward like most plants, these flowers open from the top downward. This creates an interesting visual effect as the color gradually fills in the spike over time. The flowers come in shades of purple, pink, and white, depending on the variety you choose. Each tiny individual flower is tightly packed onto the main spike, creating a solid column of color. These flowers are also excellent for cutting. They last a long time in a vase, making them perfect for fresh flower arrangements. The plant typically reaches heights of 2 to 5 feet, depending on the variety you choose. The spread is about 1 to 2 feet, making Blazing Star a good vertical accent plant rather than a space-filling plant. Planted toward the middle or back of garden beds, where its height adds dimension without shading out smaller plants. Blazing Star needs full sun and well-draining soil to thrive. It's not fussy about soil quality, but it definitely prefers conditions on the drier side. Wet soil, especially during winter, can cause root rot. Make sure water drains away quickly around the plants. This perennial does extremely well in USDA hardiness zones 3 through 9. The plant can handle serious cold snaps and heavy snow. Once established, Blazing Star is incredibly reliable and comes back stronger each year. The plant has deep root systems that help it access water deep in the soil and also help it survive winter weather. These deep roots mean the plant rarely needs supplemental watering once it's established, even during dry spells.
Hardy cold-tolerant perennial number 4, Butterfly Milkweed. Here's a plant that does double duty in your garden. Butterfly milkweed not only looks beautiful, but it also supports important pollinators. This plant is absolutely essential if you want to attract monarchs and other butterflies to your garden. Butterfly milkweed displays bright orange flowers in flat clusters. The orange is so vibrant and eye-catching that you'll see it from across the garden. Some varieties have yellow or red-orange flowers, but the bright orange is most common and most stunning. The plant grows between 1 and 2 feet tall with a spread of about 1.5 feet. This compact size makes it perfect for flower gardens, pollinator gardens, or mixed borders. You can plant it in groups for more visual impact or use it as an accent plant mixed in with other perennials. The most important thing to know about butterfly milkweed is that it's a food source for monarch butterfly caterpillars. The caterpillars eat the foliage and flowers, which is exactly what we want. Yes, the plant will look a bit munched on during peak caterpillar season, but that's actually success. You're helping save monarchs, which are facing serious challenges in our world today. Adult butterflies visit the flowers for nectar. Bees also visit the flowers. Hummingbirds sometimes visit too. This plant is basically a restaurant and maternity ward for wildlife. Butterfly milkweed wants full sun. Plant it in a location where it receives at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight daily. The plant also prefers well-draining soil and actually does best in somewhat drier conditions. It's another plant that doesn't appreciate wet feet. The plant is suited for USDA hardiness zones 3 through 9. This wide hardiness range means gardeners in most climates can grow this plant successfully. The plant has deep taproots that help it survive winter and access deep soil moisture during dry periods. If you care about supporting butterflies and other pollinators, butterfly milkweed is a must-have plant. When you plant it, you're literally helping save a species. That's powerful gardening. Hardy cold-tolerant perennial number 5, Common Sage. Let me introduce you to a plant that serves double duty.
Common sage is an edible herb that's also absolutely beautiful in the garden. If you love cooking, if you enjoy fresh herbs, if you want a plant that's both decorative and functional, sage is your answer. Common sage has soft, velvety leaves that are gray-green in color. These leaves are edible and delicious. Fresh sage leaves have a warm, slightly peppery flavor that's perfect in cooking. You can use them fresh in teas, dried in poultry seasoning, or fresh in stuffing, soups, and meat dishes. The plant produces small flowers in shades of purple, blue, pink, or white, depending on the variety. These flowers appear on spikes and are attractive to bees and other pollinators. The flowers are also edible and make pretty garnishes. Common sage grows to about 1.5 to 2.5 feet tall with a spread of about 1.5 feet. This compact size makes it perfect for flower gardens, pollinator gardens, or mixed borders. You can plant it in groups for more visual impact, or use it as an accent plant mixed in with other perennials. The most important thing to know about common sage is that it's a food source for monarch butterfly caterpillars. The caterpillars eat the foliage and flowers, which is exactly what we want. Yes, the plant will look a bit munched on during peak caterpillar season, but that's actually success. You're helping save monarchs, which are facing serious challenges in our world today. Building proof of common sage is about 18 to 24 inches tall. When the plant matures, it develops a woody base, which is completely normal.
Hardy, cold-tolerant perennial number 6. Creeping phlox is exactly what you need if you need a low-growing ground cover that brings color to your garden. Creeping phlox spreads across the ground like a soft, colorful carpet, and it's absolutely charming. Creeping phlox stays short, usually only 4 to 6 inches tall, but it spreads outward nicely to about 1 to 2 feet wide, creating a dense mat of foliage and flowers. This spreading habit makes it perfect for ground cover, for edging garden beds, for tucking into rock gardens, or for planting between stepping stones. The flowers appear in late spring and early summer. Colors range through pink, blue, purple, white, red, and even bicolors with contrasting eyes. The flowers are small and densely packed, creating a solid blanket of color across the plant. Creeping phlox adapts to both full sun and light shade, though it generally blooms more prolifically in sunnier locations. The plant spreads across the ground with trailing stems that root as they touch moist soil, making it an excellent choice for areas where you want natural ground coverage without much work from you. The plant tolerates USDA hardiness zones 3 through 9 beautifully. It's incredibly cold hardy and often starts growing earlier in spring than other plants. Early spring blooms are always a delight after a long winter. Creeping phlox is very low maintenance once established. Water it regularly the first year to help establish a strong root system. After that, the plant usually needs water only during extended dry spells. Mulch around the plant to help retain moisture and regulate soil temperature. Prune back creeping phlox after flowering to prevent it from getting too thick and potentially harboring pests. Cut back about 1/3 of the plant. This keeps it looking fresh and promotes more compact growth. The trailing stems look beautiful, cascading over the edges of raised beds, walls, or containers. Many gardeners use creeping phlox this way to create visual interest and soften hard landscape edges. Hardy, cold-tolerant perennial number 7, candy tuft, is another low-growing perennial that brings delicate beauty to your garden. This plant produces charming clusters of tiny flowers that seem to float above the foliage. The plant typically grows between 6 and 12 inches tall, spreading to about 12 to 18 inches wide. This makes it perfect for edging beds, for rock gardens, for container planting, or for mass planting for a colorful ground cover effect. Candy tuft flowers appear in clusters called corymbs. These clusters are densely packed with tiny individual flowers. Colors include white, pink, red, and purple, depending on the variety. The flowers have a slightly fragrant smell that's pleasant, though subtle. The plant has fine, narrow foliage that creates a delicate appearance. Even when not in bloom, candy tuft looks attractive in the garden.
The foliage is semi-evergreen in many climates, meaning it keeps some leaves through winter. Candy tuft adapts well to full sun to light shade conditions. It prefers well-draining soil and doesn't appreciate wet conditions. The plant is actually drought-tolerant once established, making it perfect for xeriscape gardens or areas where water is limited. The plant thrives in USDA hardiness zones 3 through 9. This incredibly wide range means candy tuft grows successfully in most climates across the country. Once established, the plant is reliable and comes back year after year without fuss. Candy tuft blooms in spring and early summer. After flowering ends, you can deadhead flowers to encourage more blooms and keep the plant looking tidy. Deadheading means removing the spent flowers before they form seeds. Some people prune candy tuft back after flowering to encourage denser, bushier growth. Cut back about 1/3 of the plant in early summer after the main bloom period. This keeps it compact and shapely. Candy tuft works beautifully in containers, rock gardens, raised beds, and along borders. It's an incredibly versatile plant that fits into many different garden designs.
Hardy cold-tolerant perennial number 8, Dianthus. Dianthus is a flower lover's dream. These plants produce fragrant, charming flowers in an amazing range of colors. Gardeners have grown Dianthus for centuries, and you'll understand why once you experience them. Dianthus comes in heights ranging from 6 to 24 inches depending on the variety. Some are very low and compact, perfect for edging. Others grow taller and bushier, suitable for middle areas of garden beds. Spread typically ranges from 6 to 18 inches. The flowers are the real show. They come in every shade of pink, red, white, and even bicolors with contrasting markings. The petals are often attractively fringed or ruffled at the edges, adding texture and charm. Most important, the flowers have a spicy clove-like fragrance that's absolutely wonderful. The foliage is fine and grass-like, typically blue-green or gray-green in color. Many varieties are evergreen or semi-evergreen, meaning they keep some leaves through winter. This gives you garden color and structure even in winter months. Dianthus adapts to full sun to light shade, though it performs best in sunny locations. The plant prefers well-draining soil and tolerates poor soil conditions well. It's not a plant that needs rich, fertile soil to thrive. Different Dianthus varieties are rated for USDA hardiness zones 3 through 9. This wide range means there's likely a Dianthus variety suitable for your climate zone. Different varieties have different cold hardiness ratings, so check the specific variety you're interested in. Dianthus attracts butterflies and other pollinators. The sweet fragrance draws insects and hummingbirds. This makes Dianthus an excellent addition to pollinator gardens. Deadhead spent flowers regularly to encourage continuous blooming throughout the season. This simple maintenance task keeps the plant flowering for weeks longer than if you leave the spent flowers on the plant. You can cut Dianthus flowers for bouquets. The flowers last well in a vase and bring their wonderful fragrance indoors. Fresh-cut flowers from your garden are one of life's simple pleasures. Hardy cold-tolerant perennial number 9, Hosta. Hosta is the go-to plant for shady areas. If you have a garden corner that's too shady for most plants, Hosta is your answer. These plants are workhorses in shade gardens, providing year-round interest. Hosta plants have bold, dramatic foliage in shades of green, blue-green, variegated patterns, and even chartreuse. The leaves range from small and narrow to large and broad. Some varieties have smooth leaves, while others have textured, ribbed leaves that create interesting shadows when backlit. The flowers are small and sometimes fragrant, appearing in shades of lavender, white, or blue-white. While the flowers are lovely, most gardeners grow Hosta primarily for the foliage. Hosta performs beautifully in shade to partial sun conditions. Most varieties do best with at least some morning light and afternoon shade. Some varieties even tolerate deep shade better than others. The plant prefers moist, well-draining soil rich in organic matter. Different Hosta varieties are rated for USDA hardiness zones 3 through 9. This gives you cold-hardy options suitable for most climates. Hostas are incredibly reliable perennials that come back consistently year after year. Hosta is very low maintenance. Once established, the plant rarely needs supplemental watering unless you're in a severe drought. The foliage slowly emerges in spring, growing gradually through the season and reaching full size by midsummer. In fall, the foliage yellows and the plant goes dormant.
Cut back the foliage in late fall or early winter to clean up the garden. The cut foliage provides mulch and protection for the root system over winter. Slugs sometimes trouble hosta plants, eating holes in the leaves. If this becomes a problem in your garden, you can manage slugs with organic methods or simply accept some leaf damage as part of gardening. The plant spreads slowly, eventually forming large clumps. You can divide hostas in early spring to create more plants or to reduce the size of large clumps. Division is very simple. Just dig up the clump and pull it apart into sections, each with some roots and eyes.
Hardy cold-tolerant perennial number 10, Hellebore. Let me finish with one of my absolute favorite plants. Hellebore, sometimes called Christmas rose or Lenten rose, brings flowers to your garden when almost nothing else is blooming. During late winter and early spring, when you desperately need color, Hellebore delivers. Hellebores are unique because they bloom incredibly early. In many climates, they're among the first plants to bloom. You might see Hellebore flowers opening in late winter, sometimes even while snow is still on the ground in other parts of the garden. The flowers appear in shades of white, pink, purple, red, green, and bicolors. The flowers have a beautiful cup shape and subtle nodding habit, meaning the flowers face downward on their stems. This gives them an elegant, almost demure appearance. The foliage is evergreen or semi-evergreen, staying attractive throughout winter. The leaves are deep green and deeply lobed, creating interesting architectural shapes. Even without flowers, Hellebore foliage adds substance and beauty to winter gardens. The plant grows between 1 and 2 feet tall with a similar spread. Hellebore has a relatively compact growth habit, making it suitable for smaller spaces and containers. Hellebore adapts to partial to full shade conditions. The plant actually does well in dappled shade beneath deciduous trees. Many Hellebore growers position their plants where they can be seen and appreciated during those early spring bloom periods. The plant prefers cool, moist soil rich in organic matter. Mulch around the plants to keep soil cool and moist and to suppress weeds. Hellebore doesn't really like hot, dry conditions. Hellebores are rated for USDA hardiness zones 4 through 9. The plants are incredibly cold hardy and reliable. Once established, Hellebores can live and bloom for decades with minimal care. The flowers last an incredibly long time. Individual Hellebore flowers can stay fresh for months. This is unusual and wonderful. The flowers gradually change color as they age, adding even more interest. You can cut Hellebore flowers for bouquets. Float the flowers in a shallow bowl of water for a unique and elegant table decoration. The flowers take a long time to open, but eventually unfurrow beautifully. Hellebore self-seeds readily in most gardens. This means you get new plants appearing around the original plant. You can let these seedlings grow or remove them to control spread. These 10 hardy, cold-tolerant perennials are just the beginning of what you can grow in your garden. Each one brings unique beauty, character, and reliability to your landscape. When you plant perennials, you're making a long-term investment in your garden. These plants keep giving back year after year. They require less work than annuals. They establish deeper root systems over time, making them more resilient and more able to handle challenging weather. If you're a gardener in a cold climate, these plants prove that you don't have to settle for a drab winter landscape. You can have gardens full of color, texture, and interest through every season. I'm Sam from Seniors Gardening Advice, and I want to hear from you. Which of these plants are you most excited to try in your garden? Leave a comment down below and let me know. I read and respond to every comment because this community matters to me. Please share this video with friends and family who love gardening. Share it with that neighbor who's struggling to find plants that survive in their cold climate. Share it with your gardening club. The more people who know about these amazing plants, the more beautiful gardens we'll have in our communities. Subscribe to Seniors Gardening Advice for weekly gardening tips, plant guides, and inspiration. Click that notification bell so you never miss a new video. New content drops every week, and I want to make sure you see it. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Your support helps us grow and create more content that helps gardeners like you succeed. Happy gardening, and I'll see you in the next video.